Picture this. You've spent months, maybe even years, building your Facebook group. You've poured your heart into creating valuable content, but every time you log in, it's the same story. Engagement is dropping, your posts get buried, and you start to wonder, is anyone even paying attention? The truth is, it's not you, it's the platform. Today's big question: why is your Facebook group failing? I know it stings, but don't worry, there's hope. We're going to dive deep into why Facebook groups aren't cutting it anymore, and more importantly, how you can build a real community that thrives. So stick with me, and by the end of this episode, you'll be armed with actionable steps to create a space your community will love and engage with. Hey there, I'm Rachel Starr, ex-wedding planner and recovering people pleaser turned your community strategist. And not too long ago, I felt a bit like Angela, planning a Dunder Mifflin party, trying to make things perfect, yet wondering if people would actually show up and enjoy themselves. That's when I discovered the real game changer: community building. It's the key ingredient to everything. Whether you're launching your next course, growing a podcast, or creating a space where people want to connect and engage. Each week, we'll roll up our sleeves and dive into the essentials of community building, from virtual events and workshop planning to fresh, innovative strategies for fostering real connections, all without the party planning community drama. Whether you're just getting started or ready to level up, you'll find practical tips, expert interviews, and real-world insights to help you craft a community that fuels your next big move. So if you're ready to get inspired and transform the way you build connections, you're in the right place, friends. Let's dive in and master the art of community together. Welcome back to the Community Lab podcast. I'm your host, Rachel Starr, and today's episode is one you won't want to miss, especially if you've been feeling frustrated with your Facebook group. Let's dive in. So let's get real for a second. A lot of us started out with Facebook groups, right? It seems like the obvious choice. It's free. Pretty much everyone is already on Facebook, and it feels like an easy way to bring people with similar interests together in one space. I mean, why wouldn't you go with that? It's convenient, at least at first, and then reality kicks in. You start noticing that your engagement is tanking. You're putting in the effort, you're posting content you think is valuable, but all you're hearing is crickets. Or maybe you get a handful of likes, but nowhere near the kind of engagement you would expect. It's frustrating. You're left wondering, what am I doing wrong? And I get it. I've been there. You pour your time and energy into this community, but it feels like the posts you work so hard on just get lost in the noise. They're buried under a pile of memes or political rants and random updates from people's lives that have nothing to do with what you're building. It starts to feel less like a community and more like you're shouting into a void. Sound familiar? Here's the thing. It's not you. The problem isn't your content or your commitment. It's the platform. Facebook groups were built with Facebook's goals in mind, not yours. Facebook is designed to keep people on its platform, browsing, scrolling, and clicking ads. And guess what? The Facebook algorithm favors content that keeps people entertained, not necessarily content that fosters meaningful connections. And the real killer? Distraction. You know what I'm talking about. People log into Facebook with the intention of checking out your group, but before they can even get there, they're hit with a barrage of notifications and videos and random posts. Squirrel much? before they know it, they've spent 20 minutes watching baby goat videos or arguing with a friend about a controversial post, completely forgetting they even meant to visit your group. This is the core issue with Facebook groups. They're built to keep people distracted, not engaged. Facebook is more of a distraction engine than a community builder, and that's where the struggle really lies. It's hard to build a deep, meaningful community in an environment that's constantly pulling your members' attention elsewhere. The truth is, if you want to create a thriving, engaged community, you need a space that's designed for community building, not for distractions. And that's why I'm so excited to talk about a better alternative today, because it doesn't have to be this way. You can build a community where people do show up, engage, and connect in real, meaningful ways. And spoiler alert, that place is 100% not Facebook. But we'll get into that in just a bit. All right, enough doom and gloom. Let's shift gears and talk about where we can go from here. There are actually several platforms out there designed for community building, and Facebook doesn't have to be your only option anymore. You might have heard of a few like Circle, Mighty Network, Slack, or even Discord. Each one has its strengths depending on what kind of community you're trying to build. Now, I want to spend a few minutes talking about Circle because I've seen firsthand how it helps create more engaged, connected communities. That said, it's definitely not the only option out there, but I find it really effective for what a lot of us are trying to do: building distraction free, meaningful connections with our members. What makes Circle stand out, at least for me, is that it's designed specifically for community building, which means you get to own the space and the experience. There's no algorithm deciding who sees your posts and when. If you've ever felt like your Facebook group post gets lost in the shuffle, you'll appreciate that in Circle. Everyone in your community sees everything you post. It cuts out that layer of frustration and brings focus back to the conversations that matter. And let's talk about flexibility. Whether you want to have discussion spaces, live events, Q&As, or even integrate things like workshops or courses, it's all possible. You're not stuck with just one format. Circle lets you set up your community in a way that fits your needs and the needs of your members. And if you're someone who wants to monetize your community, Circle has that option for that too, like paid memberships or exclusive content. But again, Circle isn't the only game in town. If you prefer something more lightweight and conversation focused, you might want to check out platforms like Slack or Discord. They're great for keeping discussions flowing, but they can sometimes feel a bit chaotic without the structure that Circle or Money Networks offers. The key is finding a platform that gives your community what it needs without overwhelming you as the creator. So whether it's Circle or another platform, the goal is still the same: finding a space that supports deeper connections and long-term engagement. That's what community building is really about. And it's something that, in my experience, Facebook groups just don't do as effectively anymore. Now, before we get into the specifics of alternate platforms, let's take a step back and talk about why Facebook groups can feel like a constant uphill battle. There are a few major pitfalls that you might be running into, even if you haven't fully realized it yet. These are the things that can silently erode your community's potential, leaving you feel like you're swimming upstream just to keep the momentum going. Pitfall number one: lack of ownership. Here's the cold, hard truth: you don't really own your Facebook group. Sure, you manage it, you're the one posting and moderating, but at the end of the day, Facebook is the one calling the shots. They own the platform, they set the rules, and they control the data. Tomorrow, they could roll out a new update that completely changes how groups work. And guess what? You wouldn't have any say in it. Maybe they make groups harder to find, or suddenly your reach gets cut in half. It happens all the time. Facebook is in control, and your community experience is at the mercy or whatever new direction they decide to take. With your own community, it's a different story. You own the space, you set the rules, you have full control over how your community operates, and most importantly, you own the experience your members have when they join and while being members. It's your community, not Facebook's. Pitfall number 2, the engagement killer, the algorithm. Have you ever posted something super valuable in your group only to realize a tiny fraction of your members actually saw it? It's like you're putting in all your effort and barely anyone is engaging. Why? The dreaded algorithm. Facebook's algorithm decides who sees what, and let me tell you, it's not designed to prioritize your group's posts. Facebook's goal is to keep people on their platform, scrolling, clicking ads, and engaging with content that drives ad revenue. So, unless your post is going viral or generating tons of immediate reactions, there's a good chance it'll get buried. With your own community, that's not even a concern. There's no algorithm filtering out your content. Everyone sees what you post. That means you get way more consistent engagement because your content isn't competing with every other piece of viral fluff out there. Pitfall number 3. Now, here's a big one that often gets overlooked: surface level connections. Facebook is great for quick likes and comments, but let's be real. The connections there tend to stay pretty shallow. It's tough to go beyond the surface when the platform itself is built around fast, disposable content. You're lucky if you can get a meaningful conversation going in the comment section before someone gets distracted by another notification. Now, Circle, on the other hand, allows you to foster deeper connections. You've got customizable member profiles, topic based discussions, integrated courses, events. It's designed to help you build real relationships. You're not just managing a group of people who occasionally interact, you're building a community where members actually connect on a deeper level and stick around long term. That's the kind of engagement that lasts. So you might be thinking, what actually happens when you make the switch to Circle or the platform of your choice? Let me walk you through what I've seen time and time again. First up, an instant engagement boost. Moving your community to Circle or a similar platform removes the distractions that often come with platforms like Facebook. When your members log in, they're focused on engaging with the community, not getting sidetracked by memes or political rants. And hey, a good meme can still be part of your thriving new space, but now it won't get lost in the noise. It's amazing how much more engaged people are when they're in a space designed for connection rather than scrolling through random posts about last night's football game. Now, I love college football, so I'm not hating on football here. But members start to show up more, contribute more, and engage in deeper conversations. Next, a greater sense of ownership for your members. And then Circle, your members feel like they're part of something bigger than just another online group. They're part of a thriving, active community that's organized in a way that makes sense for them, with clear spaces for different conversations, topics, or events. Your members start to get invested because they know they're in a well-structured space. When a community feels cohesive and intentional, people stick around. And lastly, real-time connection. One of my favorite features about Circle is that you can host live events, workshops, and even Q&As right within the platform. You don't need to send your members off to a different tool like Zoom for events. It's all integrated. And let me tell you, when people connect live, they're more likely to stay involved for the long haul. Those real time interactions build a sense of belonging and give your community a more intimate, connected vibe. So, the $1 million question: how do you actually make the switch to circle without losing your audience? This is something I know can feel a bit overwhelming, but I've got you covered with a step by step plan that'll make the transition smoother. Step one: pre announce the move. Don't just spring the switch on your group out of nowhere. Start early. Let your members know why you're moving to Circle and how it's going to benefit them. Frame it in a way that's all about improving their experience, because that's really what this is about: making things better in your community. Step two: make the transition fun. Who says a big move can't be exciting? Host a special event around the transition. Maybe it's a live Q&A session or a fun kickoff workshop or co-working session where you walk them through the benefits of their new community space and show them how easy it is to join. Make it an event that people actually look forward to. Step three: offer an incentive. People love a little something extra, right? Offer a free resource like training or early access to new content for those who make the move in the first week. Create a buzz around the switch and make it exciting for your members to jump in early. Create FOMO. Step four: keep your messaging consistent. Don't let the move slip through people's minds. Use countdowns, early adopter testimonials, and teasers to build anticipation. Keep reminding your Facebook group about the move, and don't be afraid to hype it up. The more you build excitement and communicate the benefits, the easier the transition will be. Now, let's talk success stories. I've worked with clients who've transitioned their communities from Facebook to Circle, and the results have been nothing short of amazing. For example, one client saw over a 50% increase in engagement within the first 2 weeks of making the switch. Another client who had struggled with member retention for years finally cracked the code by using Circle's ability to create subgroups based on specific interests and location. That small change made members feel more connected and aligned with each other, and it really transformed their engagement. But here's the thing: I want to be upfront about this. Not everyone is going to make the switch, and that's okay. Some of your members might not follow you to the new platform, and it's important to understand that this doesn't mean your transition isn't successful. In fact, those who do move over are likely to be the ones who are more invested and committed to what your community is about. It's all about quality over quantity, right? Now, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Making this move is a lift. It's not necessarily easy. There's work involved in getting your community excited, managing the transition, and yes, being okay with losing a few members along the way. But here's the good news: while it's not easy, it is absolutely worth it. The reward for that effort is a more engaged, meaningful, and focused community. What these clients had in common was their ability to harness the power of connection. Your community becomes a space for real interaction and value, not just a passive scroll through experience like you might see on Facebook. When people feel like they belong to something bigger, they show up differently. They engage more, they stay longer, and they contribute in ways that actually move the community forward. So, yes, it's a challenge, but if you're willing to put in the effort, the payoff is huge, both for you as a community leader and for the members who choose to follow you to a platform that truly supports their connection. All right, my friends, we have covered a lot today. From understanding why Facebook groups might not be delivering the engagement you're looking for, to exploring how platforms like Circle can offer a more intentional, distraction free space for your community. I hope you're feeling inspired to take that next step. Remember, your community deserves a space that's built for them, not for ads, distractions, or ever changing algorithms. It's not just about making a switch, it's about creating an environment where real connections can flourish. And whether that's with Circle or another platform, the goal is to give your community the home it deserves. So if you're ready to see your community thrive, head over to Circle or whatever platform suits your vision and start building a space that fosters genuine interaction and growth. Before you go, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share this episode with a fellow community builder who's ready to level up their game. Until next time, keep building, keep growing, and as always, I'll see you over in the Community Lab community. Bye, friends.